What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the Zack Snyder Justice League. Yes, I know I said I was doubling down on the content, but there is a lot of new information about the numbers, and the numbers are actually going crazy high still, and there's additional information that Zack Snyder put out on the internet about him being scared about being sued from Warner Bros. So, yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. We cover Marvel, DC, pop culture-based content all week long. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Please, I'm trying to grow that. Warstu on Instagram. I'll put it in the link in the bio, and also it'll be on pinned comment. Also check us out on Twitter or WarstuG. Right, let's get into today's video. So it appears the ongoing battle with Warner Brothers and Warner Media on HBO Max is still going on. So Samba TV, which is, I guess, the most common form of tracking how well something does, is reporting something very interesting. Now, this is a few days old. So on April the 30th, they put a tweet up: 3.7 million US households have watched Zack Snyder's Justice League in the first 39 days. Very interesting, because the actual number that they posted, Warner Bros posted, was 1.4. So 3.7 million is actually pretty crazy, because this is an old movie. Just Zack got the chance to finish his own movie, add a scene essentially, and rejig it. So Zack Snyder Justice League is getting the same views as new releases: Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, Wonder Woman 1984, etc. You gotta remember, although they did spend some money on this movie, this is the 2017 movie with Zack finishing it himself and adding the nightmare scene with Amber Heard, Deathstroke, Joe Manganiello, Joker, etc. So 3.7 in the first 39 days on HBO Max. What you got to remember here is, when it comes to streaming, it's not let's go viral opening weekend. Streaming is about longevity, a long term. How well can it do long term? Because streaming platforms, it's rewatchability. How many times will someone rewatch something? How long will they rewatch it for, etc. And also, this is reporting that in the United States, sorry, I always say that, in the UK, 1.4 million households have watched it over the first 39 days. So that is insane. These numbers are just as high as new movies. Yes, we get it. Godzilla vs. Kong smashed $500 million at the box office, and according to the data, also hit over 3 million views opening weekend. But that was a new movie that's had loads of reshoots and a marketing plan and everything. The marketing plan for the Justice League, it was pretty tiny. Zack did it himself. A few YouTube adverts, there wasn't really much there. But then when you go across to China, it's freaking insane. Zack Snyder Justice League has just crossed 160 million views on a Chinese video platform. At this rate, it will break Endgame's record of 230 million in a week. The streaming platform is reporting, and no, this is not coming from some website like Small Screen. It's coming from a video website that's in Chinese, but it's legit, really is. So that is pretty interesting. It really is that it's already been out. I guess they could have watched it. Headline: Zack Snyder Justice League breaks record in China and gets excellent marks. So still, the data's there, the information is there. We all know it's doing well everywhere. People are still rewatching it. Its rewatchability is pretty high, yet for some reason, Warner Brothers have this personal vendetta against Zack Snyder, and they don't want to work with him. It's really weird, because I get it. If the real number was 1.4, then that's not very good, but 3.4 in the first 40 days, 3.7 million in the first 39 days. That is freaking insane. If you don't think there's something going on behind the scenes, then you're just deluded, because if you go back to this Samba TV numbers, according to this, Mortal Kombat did 3.8, but it's a pretty much flopped at the box office week 2. Godzilla vs. Kong did 3.6, decent. Wonder Woman 1984, 2.2, and Zack Snyder Justice League 1.8. And this is coming from Samba TV. This was the opening weekend sources data, Samba TV data for opening weekend for each of these releases, and then it gave Zack Snyder Justice League a 4-day. So it's interesting. I'd love to see the data for Wonder Woman 1984 after 39 days, Godzilla vs. Kong after 39 days, and Mortal Kombat after 39 days, because these were all brand new movies except for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Although Zack Snyder's Justice League movie is a brand new movie, it's not really a brand new movie, as most of the footage, except for the nightmare scene and the repurposed shots, it was an old movie. It's just Zack never got the chance to edit and do the VFX and style the movie and shot it and slow-mo it all in the way he did. So it makes no sense. I'm not talking about inside information and, you know, source information I have. just from the outside looking in, these numbers are insane. So it's gone from 1.8 to 3.6, which isn't far off double it after the first 39 days, which is insane for any project. Anyone says the Zack Snyder Justice League movie was not successful, they don't know what they're on about. And Cernoff, when she came out with a fluff piece before the opening numbers were even out, saying, no, we're done, we're dusted, we gave Zack Snyder the chance. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It was Jason Keller, the head of HBO Max, the CEO, and also John Stankey, the main guy from AT&T, who gave Zack Snyder the chance to redo his actual movie and get rid of the Sweden Cup. So it makes no sense from the outside looking in. I'm not going on about whatever inside information I've spoke about on this channel previously. This is not a Snyderverse video. We are just looking at the numbers, and the numbers, it makes absolutely no sense. Smashing it, China. People in UK still watching it. I'm getting people text me daily, people I know personally, telling me they watched it for the first time and said, why the hell didn't they release this back in 2017? It makes absolutely no sense. It smashed it in China. It smashed it pretty much everywhere. But for some reason, Warner Bros, people over there, Toby Emmerich, Walter Hamada, and Cernoff, for some reason, they don't want anything to do with it. If this is to do with, you know, the Hamada-verse, his new plan with a Flash movie, and, you know, the Joker sequel, which kind of makes no sense because it doesn't really need one, and also the Batman movie, which I cannot freaking wait for. If it's to do with that, why don't they just come out and go, guys, yeah, the Justice League Snyder Cut did very well, but we just don't want to continue it. Rather than saying it underperformed, it didn't do very well, even though most of the subscribers will gain in the first quarter on HBO Max were to do with the Snyder Cut. It's just transparency and taking ownership. All they need to do, if they're not going to continue it, is just say, guys, we just don't want to continue it. We want to go down a new path with DC. And then the Snyderverse fans would accept it. Well, they wouldn't accept it, but they would have an actual reason, rather than just saying, yeah, the movie did really bad. So Zack Snyder came out recently and said something really strange. Zack Snyder was worried about Warner Bros. Suing him and says it's hard to be mad at toxic fans. Justice League director Zack Snyder has admitted that he had some concern about Warner Bros. Suing him for hyping up the Snyder Cut on social media, whilst also defending the more extreme fans. So this comes courtesy of the Times website, which is, I believe it is, it's a paid kind of subscription service where you actually need to pay, and I'm not going to pay, but comicbookmovie.com has paraphrased what he said, and it's actually interesting. Let's get into it. Unfortunately, the continuation to be the case of the Restore the Snyderverse hashtag, and it's no wonder Warner Media executives have talked about moving on from the Snyderverse. However, it's important to note that Justice League fans, both good and bad, have raised a lot of money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and that might explain why Zack came out to their defense. Interview via the Times. So now, just stick with me, guys. Listen to exactly what is said here. Here's the reality. The fandom raised $750,000 for suicide prevention and mental health awareness. They've saved a life. That's fact, Snyder stated. Now, I don't know if this is true, but it's paraphrased from the Times website, and it looks like they've just copied and pasted quote. Now, that is cool. They have. Anyone that bought any of the Zack Snyder Justice League merch, money went to suicide prevention, etc. But here is where it gets really strange. Now, I'm a Zack Snyder fan, but still, it's a bit questionable what he's saying. But on the other hand, was it fun to provoke them for a clickable thing? Yes, and they were an easy target, but they continued to raise money. So he's openly admitting here that he did provoke this release the Snyder Cut in order for it to get released, but then he's like, they were an easy target, but they continue to raise money. Interesting. I don't really know what to make of that. There are not a lot of fans, communities, whose primary objective, other than seeing work of a guy they like, realize their other main thing was to bring awareness to mental health, suicide prevention. For me, it's kind of hard to be mad at them. But I don't know if they were actually doing it to raise awareness, or were just doing it to support Zack Snyder's foundation and mental health and suicide prevention. I don't know, but either way, the Snyder fans, they did a lot of good, raising money for mental health and suicide prevention. But the bit where he says, like, let's go vote again. But on the other hand, was it fun to provoke them for a clickable thing? Yes, and they were an easy target. He's essentially just said that he provoked the fans into getting his movie restored, which I get it, but the part where he says they were an easy target, meaning it was easy to do, is a bit kind of borderline, isn't it? Do you get what I mean? It's a bit borderline. So it is interesting. It's very interesting. So in the same interview, Snyder admitted that he was concerned about campaigning the way he did by sharing images on Vero would land him in the hot waters with Warner Bros. Yeah, because obviously the movie, 100%, everything to do with the movie is owned by Warner Bros. Pictures. Nothing to do with Zack, although Zack's work. He obviously signed contracts and stuff. So the actual properties, the projects, the images, literally everything is owned by Warner Bros. I was more worried that the studio would sue me, do something to silence me, he revealed. I mean, yeah, so I presume he used Vero rather than using Instagram or Twitter because Vero is completely different, but I can understand fan. He did leak and drop a lot of stuff on Vero. It's very interesting. There's a lot here to unpack, and we're sure you'll all have different opinions on this take, regardless where you land. Hoping for Justice League sequel scenes to be a narrative at this stage, especially when it's clear that Zack Snyder Justice League Snyder Cut was only a release for the fans, really, allowing the studio to move on with the DC Extended Universe. It was Snyder who decided to add the sequel teasers. So yeah, guys, it's very interesting. Now, this isn't a Snyderverse video. This is just me putting out some information about the numbers, because it's really weird the numbers have doubled and it's blowing up in China and Asian countries, and still Warner Bros. Like, nah. So like I said, guys, all Warner Bros. Needs to do, if I'm talking as a fan here, if they don't want to release it, just say, we don't want to release it. The movie's been very successful for us. Thank you. But when Zack says they were easy to provoke, now that is borderline sketchy, guys, isn't it? I'm a Zack Snyder fan, but I do look at things in multiple different ways. That is very sketchy thing of Snyder says. It's hard to be mad at them because they raised so much fun money. It was easy to provoke them into campaigning the movie. For me, I don't know. I don't get into these toxic fandom wars, but it's interesting either way, guys. So like always, let me know, do you think they're hiding numbers for any particular reason? I mean, the numbers are cool, so why don't they just come out and say, yeah, it's done well, people are still watching it 40 days later. So if they don't want to continue it, they should just come out and say, yeah, guys, we don't want to continue it, rather than saying, yeah, it did bad. They haven't really said anything, have they? So like always, guys, as I said before, we will be covering new content, different content, Marvel, and a bunch of other stuff on the channel. So hopefully you guys stick around. The Zack Snyder Justice League, DCEU stuff, Monsterverse, none of the old content's going away. I'm just trying some different stuff out on the channel. So hopefully you guys can support the channel. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu, Twitter, WatchUG, and we'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.